Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and today I'm here with Brenda Neckvatal, and she gets to talk about the fun subject of employees and relationships and interpersonal relationships and how to deal with challenging behaviors with employees. So some of you may not be the solopreneurs that others are, and that you do have a team of people. And so Brenda, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joke around and I tell people that I'm a recovering human resource professional. I've been doing it for about 30 years. And I'm affectionately known as the Grim Reaper, like most other HR people are. So it's yeah, but honestly what I do is that I help leaders really slice through the drama and help them strategize and get through all of that and help their team grow in record time. And so really kind of understanding that they have to get the people side of their business right. That's what I focus in on. And I know a lot of people, when they start hearing that, they're kind of like, well, that just sounds so soft. But you know what? It's not soft. It's really understanding how to set the proper expectations with everybody equally so that there's unanimity throughout the entire group. Everybody's on the same page. Leadership is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart by any stretch of the imagination. And the more leaders are actually able to build skill set in this area, they're going to find more wisdom. And wisdom is one of those things where it's just more profitable than silver, and it yields way better results than gold, right? So it's the one thing that you can take with you wherever you go. And it's always compounding. So wisdom is constantly compounding. And so when you understand what motivates people to do the things that they do, when in relation to difficult people or difficult people problems, you're going to find it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but what you will find is that you'll be able to navigate through it a lot easier.
Very, very true. And I think that that's the part. I remember I used to run some colleges, and we had 3 different buildings, and there was a parking lot in between each building. And when we were up for accreditation, one of the accreditors came in and said, Sharice, it's amazing how you've turned a parking lot into a community, because he was shocked at how, I mean, we had 22 different programs and there was multiple different departments. And I just had a no tolerance policy to be able to make sure that, like, the nursing program had to get along with the vet tech program and this. And so it was just no excuse. And to have 700 students and over 150 employees, it's tough sometimes, but it's possible to create a community and get along. So tell us some of the horror stories of, these bad experiences where you come into this organization, you're like, wow, this is a dysfunctional family. And what some of the tactics were that you used or methods to be able to get it to where they got along and they liked each other.
Yeah. So, and it was funny because I was just doing another podcast interview, and I in the middle of it, all of a sudden I was reminded of this story. So I was the number 2 person, and a lot of my background is in retail. Okay. So I've got retail, I've got HR, it's all mushed into one. But I've been in an HR seat, honestly, since like 2002, something like that. So it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff that I do is always HR related. Safety, all the new hires. It's like I was always that person in retail. So, and leadership and management. So I was assigned, I was also the fix-it person, right? I have this uncanny ability to like take things apart, put them back together, no missing parts, and everything runs just fine. I can identify, like, if you say we need to get to this point, I literally can map it out in my head just like that and tell you what it is that we need to do to get to this spot. So I have this thing about identifying patterns about how things work and fit together. So I had I was put in a store as a number 2 person, and it as the ops manager, it was broken. I mean, it was People did not like each other. Managers did not like each other. I mean, it was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? So, and I wasn't like the store manager. So I didn't have reigning authority over everything. I was sent in to hopefully influence the store manager as the ops manager, which by the way, that doesn't work if you're in retail. Don't do that to your people because it does not happen. So there was a group of people that worked in part of the store in kind of like an enclosed area, and they did not get along with the store manager at all. And in he was a nice guy, but he made things really worse. Like he never thought about what he said before he said it. And he was trying to be all alpha and macho, but he didn't have, on top of it, he didn't have the confidence. And look, there's nothing wrong with being alpha and there's nothing wrong with being macho. But if you don't have the confidence to back up that bravado, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to run you over. And that's exactly what happened. So it was like every day for months, it was just hearing one side complain about the other side. And I just like, I had it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with y'all. I said, I pointed to the store manager, come with me right now. And he goes, what? I said, just do it. And he goes, okay. So we walked in to their area, to their department. And I said, I want everybody in this room to put your work away and come right on up here. And they're all kind of like, oh, we've never heard her talk this way before. And so I'm like, do it now. And so they did. They put all their work away and they're like, nobody knows what I'm doing. Store manager's kind of freaking out a little bit. I said, I am sick and tired of you guys acting like a bunch of buffoons towards each other. I said, you're all toxic towards one another. It's always somebody's done something wrong and somebody opens their mouth. I said, I'm sick of it. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to have a really good freaking day. Of course, I didn't say that word. I said something else. I said, so what I want you to do, and now in their room, they also had a full wall that was nothing but mirrors. I said, I want everybody to line up against the mirror and I want you to face the mirror right now. And they all kind of said, and I said, you too, and the store manager. And they're all kind of like, what is she doing? Right? So I said, now this is what you're going to do. You're going to have a really good freaking day. And the reason why we're going to do this is because we're going to rewire your brain. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand there and you're going to look at yourself and you're going to smile for a whole minute, starting now. And I'm like, do it. And so it's just sitting there. And within like 5 to 10 seconds, they start laughing. And this is like the dumbest thing that they've ever done, right? And I'm like, don't you stop. And so everybody's now cracking up. And they all look at me and I'm like, okay, I'll let you stop at 30 seconds, but understand that, look, you guys are going to have a good day now. All right. You want to know why? Because I just rewired your brain. I said, y'all are laughing. You're having a good time. You came in here all cranky and cantankerous. And look, take this moment right now. I'm going to walk out. You guys have a good conversation about how you guys are going to work together. And I told him, I said, because there isn't enough hair dye for me to be able to survive this, right? And I took advantage of the humor because everybody was already laughing. I said, now's your time. Now, this lasted for 3 weeks, which was amazing until somebody said something stupid and the whole thing happened all over again, right? And I told the manager, I said, you have to lead the way. I said, you have to change your perspective of these people. If you don't do it, I can't keep lining you guys up in front of that mirror and change your brain chemistry because it's not going to happen the next time we do it. And he goes, really? I said, no. I said, I can't keep fixing this. I said, you've got to get better at talking to people. You got to get better at being respectful. And at the same time, you got to hold them to account, and you're not doing it. And they're running all over you. Mm-hmm. I said, trust me. I said, if this company gave me the approval to go ahead and write people up without having to get your blessing for it, everybody's file would have been full by now. And it's not to be a witch or anything. It's because this is what was needed to actually correct people. And every time I've talked to you about it, you said no. So you're kind of standing in your own soup, right? So it was something that I did. That was a very creative moment. It worked.
That's good.
But that's not something that we can do every single day, Mm-hmm. That was a one-off, and it did. We had 3 peaceful weeks. It was great. And then just, I don't remember how it went downhill. I came in later and I heard that, World War III had commenced. And I was like, well, all right, well, that was short-lived. But
But you make a good point though. I do believe it is the leader. If the leader lets things go, if the leader, it's just like being a mom,
yeah,
with kids. If
yeah,
you're gonna let the kids run all over you, then they're gonna act like brats. And if there's no firm boundaries and expectations, they're going to take advantage of that, just like employees do. Employees need to know. Like I used to have, I mean, I look back at some of the things I did, and I'm like, wow, I would never do that now. But it worked. And I think it's a different time, different place. And so you have to be adaptable. But do you find that it buck stops at the top? Like the culture is kind of created by the leader?
culture is always created by leak. So culture is 100% responsibility is the apex leader of the organization or the group or whatever.
Mhm.
The challenge is not everybody has got confidence or even knowledge to actually set boundaries and execute some form of um, consequence associated with it. You
Mhm.
know, in a different store. So it was really funny. I went from the bottom rank store to the top rank store in a year. And apparently that was always the plan. And when I got into the top rank store, I mean, we had similar issues, but not quite the same. And I remember this, I was training up my replacement. I was grooming him to step in and take over as the ops position as either I moved up within the corporation or I moved out, one of the two. Um, and so we had this one girl, I caught her 3 times in 15 minutes texting in the aisle. And the first time I was like, hey, listen, I need you to not text. I said it's not appropriate. It's against our company policy at the time. And she put it away. And then like within just minutes, I saw her texting again. And I walked up to her and I said, help me understand why you're continuing to text. You and I just had a conversation that it's against company policy. You're not supposed to have your cell phone out on the floor. So help me understand why you're doing it. She said, well, I'm like, yeah, that's all well and great, but that has nothing, there's no things on fire, right? So make sure you put it away. I don't want to see it out again. And then the third time I caught her, I didn't say a word. I didn't say a single word. And she's standing and I could see her very clearly. So she's at one end of the aisle, I'm at the other. And all I'm doing is just standing there looking at her. And I waited for her to come up. And I waited probably about a good 2 minutes, just standing there looking at her, totally oblivious to what was going on, not helping any customers. Because, that's the backbone of business. It's like we have to take care of our customers coming in. And I just sat there and looked at her. And when she looked up, she was like, she rolled her eyes and she put it in her pocket. And then I got mad. It's like you're getting all huffy with me for something that you're breaking. No, this is not going to continue to happen. So I pulled the guy that I was grooming into the office and said, "Hey," I said, "Bill, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go get her." I said, "Give me a minute." I said, "We're going to keep the lights off like normal, and I'm just going to sit here." I said, "And when she comes in, I'm not going to look at her." I said, "I just want you to watch what I'm about ready to do." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Sure, great." And so he brings her in and she walks in. She goes, what? Now I have my head down on a pad of paper and I'm writing something stupid like I think Mary had a little lamb or just something, right? She's not going to look. And I knew that. And she comes in and she goes, what? And I said, let me ask you one question. I did not make eye contact with her. I did not take my eyes off of that pad of paper. And I said, how old do you think a human being needs to be in order to follow instructions? And she goes, 3. And I said, do I need to say anything more? And she's like, fine. She went out, she put her phone in her car, didn't ask her to do so. She came back in, finished the shift. 3 days later, she handed in her 2-week resignation. And I was like, not a problem. It's like, we wish you the best. If you don't think this is the right place for you because, our rules don't work for you, that's fine. Go somewhere where you think that they can. We wish you the best. We have no ill intention about that. But it was just simple. It's like, this is your decision. The bus is leaving, you're either on it or not.
Mhm.
You just tell me what you want to do, not a problem. But
Mhm.
if you can handle not texting on the sales floor, we'll be great. So
Rules. Yep. And the fact that she even said what the way she did, I probably would have had issues with that as well.
Oh, why do you think I was writing something down?
Because
Because I knew she was gonna be upset. I just didn't know what it was gonna be. So
mhm.
when she came in with that very self-righteous attitude, I'm like, and then the and the thing is that, when you have somebody who's in that position, she knows she's doing wrong,
Oh yeah.
right? She knows she's screwed up. And so the way she's handling it, she's choosing, instead of stepping up and being accountable and just
Mhm.
say, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry I'm doing this. You're right. I'm wrong. I should be following the rules. I apologize." She didn't want to follow the rules. So what does she do? Is that she flips it around into like I'm the bad guy,
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
right? So that is a great definition of a difficult personality, because she's not just doing the hair. She's got a set of standards and rules for her life that are outside of the boundaries of what it is that she wants to do. That doesn't work. She's not going to have a very fulfilling life. You're not going to have a successful employee, right? Even if your employees are only around for a year to 2 years, you still want them to be, successful. It's a hard world out there, you
Mhm.
know? So, even if she's just going to be around for a little while, that's fine. We want her to be, we want her to be an outrageous success, but that's not going to happen if she doesn't want to follow the rules. So it is absolutely nothing about me.
Mhm.
And so that was the reason why I was looking down, is because I knew she was going to get upset. And I knew that if I made eye contact with her, she was going to make the attempt to take the power position.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I asked her the question that threw her off guard. And that was, how old do you think a human being needs to be before they can start following decisions? And then once she heard her answer saying 3, which I got that question from a friend of mine who like scolded her 7-year-old daughter that way one time. It was brilliant. And there's nothing wrong with standing on the shoulders of the giant 79. So um but it was one of those questions, she wasn't expecting it, and it disarmed her. And it
Mhm.
disarmed her in a way where she was actually very honest about something. And when she actually heard it, it made her even angrier.
Yeah.
But it made her angry not at me, even though she was projecting that on me. She was angry at herself, but she's going to turn it on me because I'm somehow the bad guy for holding a rule or a policy, right? Happens all the time.
Yeah.
That is an immature individual, and teams do not grow with an army full of immature people.
Mhm. But I feel like there's several immature people lately. And so it's hard. You have a you owe me type attitude with a lot of people lately. Not everyone, but times have changed from 20 years ago. And
Oh, try
so
5. Yeah, I
try
would agree.
first. Um, so what are some strategies you recommend for leaders who feel overwhelmed by all these changes? um, and the rapid changes that have happened. So, what are some of the strategies that a leader listening to this could take away right now? Give me two.
So a lot of people are trying to, like, when they have a vacancy at work and a position, they're trying to fill that job as fast as possible.
Mhm.
That part makes sense. But you know what? Set yourself up in a way where you can actually have a process that works better for your company, that will help you identify the mature-minded individuals that are going to be put in the seat. I mean, we see it all in social media, people making posts about how they did this. There's a video that's gone viral over the weekend about a girl who was fired by the HR professional. She didn't come in to work. Her attendance was pretty bad in a very short period of time. And she just for some reason didn't think that it was a problem that she was a no-show, no call on her birthday because it was a birthday. She didn't think it was a problem showing up to work 36 minutes late because her cousin borrowed her car over the weekend to get back on time. So it's like she's not accepting responsibility, right? She doesn't seem to understand, or has it in her mind that, hey, listen, I need to step up because I'm obligated. I'm in this job. I've been given a chance. Now I'm obligated. We got some generational gaps in these types of norms and behaviors. They are a needle in a haystack. They're still trainable.
Mhm.
And when they're coming in young like that, you have an opportunity to help mold them. And when you set up those parameters in advance, like, this is how you succeed in this job. This is how you don't succeed. And when you succeed, guess what? Really great things happen. And when you don't succeed, guess what? Not so great things happen, right? if you set that expectation up front, then you have to tell me if this is a place that if you can handle this, if this you can step up and be the best version of yourself while you're here day in and day out, then we got something to work with, right? But during your hiring process, ask the right questions, because when you ask good questions, you get good answers. And then you can determine whether or not they're trainable. A lot of people just race through the interviewing process or the hiring process because they got to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
To a degree, yes, you absolutely have to. But you know what? If you want to be more about quality versus quantity, then you have to place speed over vacancy, or vacancy. You know what I mean? So that analogy didn't come out very well, but you know what I was talking about. It's like you have to kind of slow your roll a little bit.
No, I agree. And I hear so many entrepreneurs say, well, I can never grow because I can't find any good people. And I kind of chuckle and I say, well, actually, then you need to look at yourself, because if you think you can't find any people, it's really yourself that you're having a hard time with. When there's constant turnover, you got to look at the leader, like look at the person pointing back, how many fingers, right? And there's three pointing at you. And so I think that that's the part where there still are some that I've actually said, you are so fantastic. Are you looking for a job? While they're in a retail or whatever, I'll hand my card or something, because it's incredible. Some of the people that they do take ownership, and they kind of like what I did, they act as if it's their own company and they take pride in it. And so if you set that expectation and you take the time to interview, like you said, you can find those people.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones that can't get off their daggum phones, just let them go.
It's all good.
All right. So one last question.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you were sitting on a park bench and your 19-year-old self came and sat next to you, what advice would you give her?
My 19-year-old self, I was not crazy about who I was. I was 19. Um, to be honest with you, my 19-year-old self, I would be like, you know what? You are worth far more than what people are telling you.
Yeah.
No, I would literally take that girl under my wing and just like, you got way more than what people are giving you credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. And that's so true. And that goes for any age and any person. So thank
Yep.
you for that. Well, if people, specifically our listeners, wanted to find you, how would they get a hold of you?
Oh, absolutely. So actually, you know what I do want to do? I want to give your listeners a free gift. I want to give them something. Look, this stuff is not easy, but I'm going to give you 3 shortcuts. And if it's a free course that you can take, there's no strings attached to it. If you go to yobrenda.com, because it's a heck of a lot easier to spell than my last name, you're going to be able to go ahead and submit your information and take my impact scripts. And these are 3 scripts that I use. I've been using them for a long time to help cut through to the drama and actually get to the root of what's going on. One of my favorite ones to use that I've used forever, apparently I do it on everybody, is called Help Me Understand. Help me understand what is going on. Help me understand this. Help me understand why this happened. Help me understand how we got here. Help me understand why you believe something is the way it is, right? When you do that, what you're doing is you're actually carving out the person that's involved, and you're only solely focused in on the facts. And so it is such a great phrase because it helps you dig down, dig down, dig down, and it helps you eliminate all the fray that comes with drama and working with people in general, and then also like the real super challenging ones. And it is absolutely fantastic. So there are 3 scripts that will help you do that. And when you go into yobrenda.com, what you're going to do is you're going to put in your name, you're going to put your email, and then it's going to ask you, what's the one thing that you heard today that you took away from this interview, from this session? And because I like knowing what people like embrace. So that's how you get it. And then if you take advantage of it, then I'll see you in the class.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And
No,
people,
thank you.
well, listeners, I hope that you take some advice from Brenda, that she just has great advice. She has great experience, and it is possible to find good people. You don't have to be a solopreneur forever. And if you want to scale and if you want freedom, you've got to be able to learn to trust people and get the right people on the bus with you so you can take off. So thank you so much, Brenda, for being on.
Thank you.
And listeners, go out and make it a great day. See you later. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Sharice Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Sharice Walker.